I'm a cop, and my knives were used to kill my daughter. By Mario Luigi. I didn't do it. That's what I've been thinking to myself for the past 40 years or so. I didn't do a thing, but yet someone did. Someone did it. Something yet to be explained. So, it's the 1970s. I just got home from investigating a murder. It's pretty simple stuff. A girl gets murdered, her scalp gets removed. Pretty gruesome stuff, but for my job, it's par for the course. I'm not going to beat around the bush and pretend like it's some big mystery. You read the title. I was a cop. I have been for 10 years. I love my job, despite the peculiarities of the job. Now, I've seen plenty of paranormal crap, and maybe I can tell you the story someday, but none of it has been as personal as this was. It started with my knives starting to vanish. Now, you may be thinking, what does vanishing knives have to do with a horrific murder? Well, it didn't at first. It was just a massive inconvenience. First time I really noticed was because it was Thanksgiving and I was trying to get a knife to cut the turkey. I go to the drawer and there's pretty much just 2 knives left. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest here. I hadn't been paying much attention up until this point, but then I saw it and I realized the knives were gone. I looked everywhere, but I couldn't find the damn knife. It was at that point in which I started to replace the knives, only for a few of them to go missing a few minutes later, with my back turned. To this day, I have no idea what the hell it was. At that point, my daughter was around 5. Thus, it's reasonable to say she could have taken them without knowing what it was. Perhaps she thought it was a childish game. I went to ask her, calmly. I know I shouldn't, given the situation after all. My 5-year-old daughter probably has the knives. Cecile, can you please give me my knives back? Cecile looked at me with a confused look. Knives, Daddy? What are knives? I simply replied, the little sharp things, the one with the handles on them. I went to grab one. I grabbed one of the few knives I still had in my drawer and returned. Like this. They're dangerous, so I need them back. Have you seen any of these? No. I've seen the sharp man take one, though. At this point, I was confused. She never mentioned this imaginary friend before. This sounds like some horror movie villain. The Sharp Man? The Sharp Man. He's funny. He's got black clothing on and a weird mask. But most importantly, he's covered in knives. He says he's friendly, but he can't show himself to you. He says you'll be mad. He says I need to keep him a secret. Well, darling, I can assure you that the Sharp Man isn't real. Now I'll ask again. Where did you put them? I don't have them. The Sharp Man does. Now, I knew this conversation wasn't going anywhere, and pressing her harder wasn't going to accomplish anything. So I took a step back and left the room. I went to find the knives in her room. They weren't there. And I swear, I could hear her say, the man is mad at you. He says you were somewhere you shouldn't have been. Now, this is weird. She should have no knowledge about Harmony Way or any of the goings-on in that area. Neither should any 5-year-old kid. But she's my daughter, so I simply assumed that she made it up. Naive of me, I know. I forgot all about it. As the cycle of buying knives only for them to be taken away continued, it was annoying, but it wasn't scary, by any stretch. Hell, if that's what all this amounted to, you wouldn't be reading this. It would be a strange phenomenon of a young girl imagining a friend for her to play with. A few times within about a week, I tried to get my daughter to explain about the knives. I mean, seriously, it wasn't funny at this point. I was starting to get pissed. But one day, I'd say about 7 months later, shit hit the fan. Pretty much, I was relaxing in my room watching TV per usual. At that point, I heard a scream. I thought it was the show at first, but then I realized something. It sounded like my daughter's scream. I went upstairs in a hurry, just to find a gruesome scene. As you can guess, my daughter was stabbed with the knives. All of them. And I mean all of them. Just hundreds of knives. Sticking out of her, blood was pouring out, staining the carpet. Her organs were spilling out. Every bone was visible and her skin was torn clean off, and not an inch of flesh remained. Now, I was looking around like crazy at this point. I could have sworn if there was some bastard in there who was lying with my knives, ready to kill my daughter, I might have seen him. I didn't see anywhere he could have hid. We haven't found the guy to this day. And what's worse was on the walls. Don't go after me. Don't return there. I didn't do it. I swear, guys, I'm not crazy. After the incident, I was framed, naturally. I was the only one at home. The knives had no DNA except for mine and hers. My wife divorced me. She thought I did it. I didn't. Someone out there did, though. Some sick bastard ruined my life and my family. And someday, I'll make that wicked bastard pay. Guys, this is just a part 1 of a 5-part series. I think you're going to enjoy it. So make sure you hit that like button and become a patron. Go give the author some love over on Reddit. And I set up a Discord just for this. So I'll post a link to that in the description. Thank you.